just the sim that changes, you know, as John and TD pile out of the pits, but it's going to be it would be lovely to see the see the skinny wings on the cars here, but may have to wait another few years for that before EA develop the game enough. Can't even update it without it bugging somewhere or other. Obviously, John's going to be the first to get a lap in. He's obviously going very aggressive on some of this. With only 13 drivers, it's going to be a matter of seeing for these whether they can keep it on the track and obviously keep it reasonably quick in the meantime, because no one's going to go out. Joseph's obviously using his hards on this one, so sort of cures those in a little bit, but without obviously wasting any other tyres by the looks of it. Most of the rest are on mediums. John has thrown a set of softs at this. To be fair, he'd be right in thinking that he has got a good shout at getting through Q2 through Q2 on the mediums anyway. So coming up to the first chicane here with John, 221 mile an hour we saw on the speedo there. He piles it through the chicane in third gear. Tight old chicane, that one. They call Monza the Temple of Speed. I'd call it a Temple of Clunky Chicanes. Fires it around the Curva Grande now. Traffic keeps well out of the way. That's Joseph on the outlap. Heading through the Della Roggia chicane. Takes enough curb really to get him round. Didn't look to hinder him too much. He comes towards the Lesmos. Just about keeping it in play on there through the first and through the second. We've got that famously thick white line in real life. Slipstreaming the car in front of him as he comes towards Ascari. Batches there. And comes up toward what is known as the Alboreto curve, or to us mere mortals, Parabolica. Right on board, fifth gear. Funky little corner in this in these cars actually. Didn't flow too well. Up to the line, and John sets the benchmark at 119.2. Good start there. TD should be next through. Looks like he had backed off a little bit from John. Can he produce the 19.7 from TD? John, as we expected, setting the early pace. No, if he comes through, I'd assume that's possibly had an error in it somewhere, that lap. The times now come onto the board. Ryan with with having had a couple of good performances in the last couple of races, looking to cling onto the coattails of TD, currently a couple of tenths down from him. That guy comes through. We've got Jay Clates in a Williams there. Again, I think another one that may have had a little bit of an error on the lap there. See what Joseph, I think, is going for double warm. Let's have a look at an angry Corgi next up through the Parabolica. I would imagine this particular Corgi was ever so slightly angry at his performance last week. Did end up a few laps down, but pops up to 6th there, 22.3. Only got one half of the field in the 19s and the other in the 22s at the minute, so very much goes one way or the other here. It looks like we might have a couple of drivers doing sort of double warms. Not a lot of natural kind of curvature to the circuit to really give them that tyre warmth, so plenty going at it from a second run. And Greg puts himself right in the middle of those two groups of drivers. 20.9 there on the medium tyre. Decent lap there for Greg. And let's see where 10.10 is at. Just out of the two Lesmos. Well, looks of it, obviously he's running the medium tyre. Really brilliant piece of track to watch the cars run through there. Ascari flows so well, but so easy to lose the back end, of course, with these drivers. Nice and clean through Parabolica up to the line. 10-10. Pops himself in second. Splits TD and John. Gets himself a good lap on there. Z Joseph's warm-up lap has gone on. I think he's still going for a warm-up. Still just running around on the hards. Looks deflated. We'll pick him up as we come through the Lesmos. Looking pretty solid as always there, to be honest. Along toward Scarlet, and again that lovely piece of flowing track. And around Parabolica as well. Of course, the Alfa Romeo, how have I forgotten about that being of an Italian origin, of course, but the Sauber team masquerading as Alfa Romeo. Deflated puts himself up into second in that car. 19.4 for him there. So a few cars, I think, just going around slowly just to get a time in and a lap on the board. And Sun God getting started here, so let's see what he's got. It's right on board. Give it a go. Locks a little bit into turn one. Takes second gear through the first two corners there with the chicane. Had to gear on for a little bit of traction coming toward Curva Grande. Rolls it round on there. Narrow angle toward the chicane. Looked a little bit slower through there. Obviously, did take a little bit of curb on the way in, but obviously is again going to be laid off a bit here. Doesn't need to risk too much, so is the only one on track at the moment, thank God. Drivers starting to get the message and obviously retiring from the session here. As I said, they won't go out. Let's give Sun God another chance to get a flying lap in on some mediums that are already 4 laps old. And storms it around Parabolica, takes the wide line and cuts to the inside, goes to 7th with that lap there, Sun God. An improvement of a couple of seconds for him. We'll just about do it, and Novi's going to come out and give it another go as well, just let's say. Lap record for Joseph. Oh dear. I do think he might be the first person to record a 2:08 in an F1 car. Yeah, I think that is some sort of record. He said he's glad the 107% rule wasn't built. Deflated just ribbed you for it as well. There we go. Let's watch Novi as he tries to improve. And there is on those older soft tyres again. Obviously not taking a new set for these, thankfully. Coming through and keeping ice and clean on Lesmo 1. Lesmo 2 just riding that curb on the outside there. Not a bad one to ride on this game there. Pretty much just gives you all the support you need, I'd say. It is bad if you ride too many of these ones for Ascari. Honking up the side there. Can unsettle the car a little bit, but Novi's kept it in a straight line. storms down toward Parabolica there. Waves the apex goodbye on the inside. Comes with that outside line. To the line there, Novi. 7th, half a second improvement for him. And 21.1 to show for it on those older soft tyres. That'll be it as far as this session's concerned. Will we start to get some retirees go out, or will we have one more big run at the end, I wonder? We go. I was going to say, we're begging him to retire in Discord. I was running out of words. I'm not very good at filler. So obviously Top Gun hasn't made it into the session, so we'll start from 14th place. The rest of the guys obviously got a time on the board. Some are representative, some, as you look down towards Joseph Hales, definitely are not. So we'll see a bit more of variety in the order as we come through to Q2 there. But John's still taking the top spot, fastest qualifier in this session. Leading Deflated Wee by 1.6 tenths there. Ryan is storming through. He's got his DRS all wide open and everything there, and it's just possibly giving him a chance to visualise this run through Ascari there. So it will be the Red Bull of Ryan to get us going in Q2, the first session that actually does result in drivers being knocked out. Away we go here. So the Red Bull makes its way down to the first chicane. Popped in there, of course, to reduce the speed. It is very, very clunky, very, very slow in these cars. But Ryan seemed to make it look very, very smooth and easy. Taking a quarter line through Curva Grande there, not covering much more distance than he had to. Takes a wide enough exit through to, or entrance through to Della Roger chicane. And lying through Lesmos there. Well, having said that, he's come down to 4th gear, which has confused me a little bit, but coming through there doesn't look to have lost too much speed. Will only aid the acceleration. Romps down toward Ascari. See it through this slot in the halo. Driver's eye view, as it were. And fires it again toward Parabolica. Good run through there and up to the line. It's a 19.9 again for Ryan, similar to what he did in the first session on the soft there. And John comes in also with a 19.9, 7 thousandths of a second in it there. So I wonder whether John's had a slip or something like that. You usually expect him to come through and blitz everyone. Joseph Hales on those mediums has blitzed everyone. That is a 19.4, impressive lap from Joseph. 10.10 follows that up also by going quicker than the two soft runners on that medium set, 19.7 for 10.10. But of course, about in and around 3/10 off of Joseph still there. Let's join up with the Sun God, see what he's got. Ascari takes as much curve as he can get away with on the way in. Has missed the apex. Definitely run it a bit wide, but seems to have kept the lap, left it off just enough for that, I would imagine. Not my finest moment on the stream. I think maybe if I was better at, maybe if I was better on the actual track, I'd have enough money to get some more batteries. Maybe I'd win one of these fastest lap awards that the Rids sometimes sponsors us with. Rids and Goldilocks kindly offer up every now and then. If I was any better at the racing side of things, I'd be able to keep the controllers running, keep the lights on. But there we go. We'll pick this up with Deflated Wee on track at the moment. Coming through and fastest for the 19.2 there. Joseph was retired out of this session in the meantime. Impressive lap again from Deflated as the times come tumbling down. Of course, we do have also TD on a lap. Really is storming by the looks of it. A smaller Smiley there. Good lap with a 19.6. TD just running it a little bit wide out of Ascari. Did look like he maybe caught a bit of curb on the way round. A smaller Smiley, impressive lap there to go third. A 19.6. Very, very good lap, that one. Pick up Greg now, the AlphaTauri driver. Seems to get through Ascari pretty well. Doesn't seem, doesn't seem to do what TD has done. Caught a little bit of curb and run wide. Greg will obviously complete this lap, looking to go better than a 20.3 at the minute, with 7 minutes to go in this session, just under. 20.1, but still keeps him in 9th. A little step towards where Ryan is at the moment, though, on a 19.9, and that does look like that is going to be the danger zone for some of these drivers here, provided any of the bottom three can get a lap on the board. Ryan on one at the moment. Sun God, Jay Clates, and an Angry Corgi all in danger of being dropped at the end of this session. Novi also in need of a better lap to assure himself of a place in that Q3. We are on board with Ryan at the moment, who, as I said, with a 19.9 was the first to go round. Currently sat 7 thousandths of a second off of John, who's in an unusually low position. He's also being followed around on track by the Haas, but Ryan and John both on new sets. Looking smooth at the moment as the Red Bull comes storming up toward the final turn. Parabolica curve Alboreto. And toward the line, taking as much as he can get away with Ryan, and going third, another 19.6. Just jumping smaller Smiley, and John puts himself much closer to where he'd have expected to have been. 19.0, and see, maybe he was just sandbagging a little bit in those first couple of runs. Don't think anyone was really ready for that. 10-10ers either warming things up or cooling things down. The rest of the guys all on either out laps or in laps, unless your name is an Angry Corgi and you're driving a McLaren. Comes in, looks precarious through those first couple of turns, but really starts to jump on it as soon as we can get a full throttle on. Towards the Della Roggia chicane. Oh, lost the back end on the way in. And that's going to cost an Angry Corgi a fair bit of time, I would imagine there. Doesn't look like he hit the second apex as a result. Still keeps on with the lap, though. Looking, of course, for improvement. Joseph calling himself to have pole pace at the minute. Saved yourself enough sets of soft tyres for it. I think it will give you more than a good enough chance there. Speaking of people who may or may not have a chance, here is an Angry Corgi. yapping his head off as he comes towards the line. What's he got? 21.3, which is a marked improvement, of course. He will need another one, and he will need it fairly quickly. Top three have all retired out of the session, so 19.4 safe at the moment. There is Top Gun joining the session, but he won't be able to get into the running. At Novi, who's right on the cusp at the moment, on a 20.3. Straddling that exit curb there. He runs down under the tunnel, carries some of that old part of the track toward Ascari, named after the late great, of course. Not overly late, but of course the great Alberto Ascari. And here comes Novi, coming to look toward the line. His time improves by only 0.04 of a second, so still finds himself right on the cusp there. Is there just about a 1/10.5 improvement in Sun God's time? That's all it would need. Jay Clates currently is well down. I think he's possibly going to have to try and make his way around for one more, but it's going to have to be a fairly brisk one. I think that guy is right behind him as well. I don't think he's checked his mirrors. Oh no, he's not. Not on a run, thankfully. So Sun God crosses the line to begin his run. Jay Clates, as I said, may get one more if he can get round quick enough. Where is he at the minute? He's at Ascari, should be okay, I would imagine there. The Sun God gets it all wrong through the Variante della Roggia and comes straight through the apex and all the sleeping policemen at the second part of the chicane. So that will be it for Sun God, I would imagine. Angry Corgi is already retired out. Jay Clates will get one more go as the checkered flag falls. So that is Sun God out. It is a straight battle, you'd imagine, between Novi and Jay Clates to get that final Q3 place. Jay Clates looking at over 0.6 improvement needed, and currently is down through the first sector by 4. Really, really clunky through the Valoroggia chicane. Taking plenty of curb, and I think he may have backed off this. No, still looks like he's going. Oh, wide. Sent it a bit too much in the Lesmo. He's losing time all over the place as Jay Clates. He knows the importance of this lap, and I think he's just gone a little bit off the boil. Novi can safely pop himself into the pits if he wishes in Q3, allegedly. This is deflated Wee's word, not mine. So if you don't get any rain, it's his fault. I'm not promising anything. He said it might start raining. It does look like the clouds are getting a little bit grayer over the top there. So John tops the session, and we lose Sun God, Jay Clates, and an Angry Corgi. 10-10 obviously was second place in that deflated. Joseph fourth, the only driver to only use a medium set, but 19.4 is a very good lap on those and within 0.3 of the top time. See plenty of race engineers coming out of the pits there. So onto the track they all come. It's not going to be anything like the display we had that year, with everyone trying to wait for each other's slipstream. We are gone and out and wanting to get these laps in. It could turn wet towards the end of this session, so it's deflated we at least. So everyone is going to want to get these in before a single drop of rain falls on this track in front of them. Everybody on outlaps at the moment. We're going to have some timing madness as we come towards the end of these runs. It's currently John who is at the front of the queue. Deflated we will then be next over and should have an Aston Martin somewhere in there. TD, obviously, currently sat behind Ryan and Novi as well. A little bit of racing going on with Novi and 1010 there. Joseph Hale's just bringing those tyres in gently, of course. I think he's going to be one to watch in Q3. Well, our first round will, of course, be John. We'll see how the usual pace setter gets on. Fires it down toward this first chicane. Jumping in, really clonking the curb on there. It was not always best for getting the power down early. Certainly rolls a little bit more over the inside than what he would have wanted to have done. It seems to have not really dropped his pace too much there. 26-1 through the first sector, by the way. Comes through Lesmo, oh, just about holding on to track limits. Could not have got any closer to losing that lap there, John. Uncharacteristically close from him. Usually assured and well within the lines, but still very quick at being that. That's enough curb through Ascari. A little bit of a clip of the curb on the exit. Won't again losing too much, you'd imagine. It's a little bit of a bumpy ride, a little bit unstable. So he's going to come through Parabolica, and he's certainly pushing. Here's the American driver. As he is first to the line, the pace is set, and it is an 18.9, the first into the 18s in this session. Deflated Wee jumps in with an 18.8 though, and Ryan with a 20.0. He's a little bit down on his current time. Where have we got Joseph Hales coming to the line? He's invalidated, so we'll have to go again. Looks like he's certainly trying again, Joseph. That guy's on a 19.4 and 10.10 to the line now. What's he got? 18.9 is only good enough for third by 100th of a second. And a smaller Smiley up there and 19.6 for the Ferrari driver, similar to what we've done in Q2. Novi obviously currently not with a representative time. Joseph had invalidated, but looks to be going again. Looks to have just about saved enough energy to do that. He'd call the bottle. Really sending it through Lesmo there, was really aggressive through the second part of that curve. And really is flying as Joseph Hales. Just takes, oh, really sticking to the inside of Ascari. Got a little bit wobbly mid-corner. On the middle part of the chicane. He smashes it down toward Parabolica. Should have enough energy just about to finish the lap. Going to be close for the Aston Martin driver. He comes piling through to the line. And the time is good enough for fourth with a 19.1. Of course, those tyres a lap older than what the rest of the grid had done a lap on. TD, of course, in all this, sorry, had gone fifth. An absolutely crazy lap of 19.3. TD's qualifying form seems to be continuing there. Very, very good lap from him. Greg, I think by the looks of it, is going to get one run slightly out of rotation. Tentative time on the board 20.6, but we know there's still more in there from him. 1010 has retired it in the pits. Well. TD is retired. I'm going to assume the rain has begun to fall. That has to be because of the rain. There's no other reason, you'd imagine. see, we do have Greg out there braving it still. John's out there braving it for another run. He knows he needs just under a tenth to snatch pole from deflated. But here comes the rain. And here comes Greg in completely unrelated news. There it is. You can see it falling. Deflated we promised rain, and deflated we was right. Greg really struggling, bumping it over the inside curb on the second part of the Della Roggia chicane. Decent through Lesmo though, nice and smooth. The first part and the second part assured really there. So that guy comes in, retires. Joseph Hales retires. We're starting to realise that this is only going to get heavier. Not going to be really any improvements from here. Greg invalidates. John, I think, is still on track, giving it a go, but I think it's going to be treacherous for him. If he improves on here, it'll be an absolute miracle. Start to question him on Ronha cheats. Sorry, Ronha. But locking it as he comes into a Della Roggia chicane. You can see the rain on the camera now. You see it more and more dodgy, getting darker and darker. Not much going to happen, you'd imagine, as he's losing the back end through second Lesmo. Going toward Ascari. Will he be able to keep all four on the track? And the car pointing straight. Just about. It looks like he maybe left a little on the table. Definitely not going to be an improvement, but I think, as I say, leaves a little bit out of caution, I think, here, John, because otherwise this car is going to end up in a wall. And it comes into the pits. Yep. I think it's better of it. I think we will probably start to see everyone retire out of the session now. Greg has done that without setting a lap. He knows he's not going to set a representative time in these conditions. Ryan is still out on the softs. We have got one car left, and it is the Red Bull. On the track at least, but he has definitely backed out of this. There is no energy being gathered at all. Okay. So that will be as good as that, and that is your order for the start of the race. So deflated wee for Alfa Romeo takes pole position. Gives Tifosi a little bit of something to shout about at least. As Novi does all the service and retires. Meaning we will have 5 minutes from just about now before the race starts, and it's Deflated who will start it on pole. Is John second, 10-10 third, and Joseph Hales in fourth, as we said there. Starting near enough alongside his teammate TD in fifth. Okay, thank you for the follow, RPL. RPL XB1. From the John fan club, of course. Okay, that guy in 6th, Smaller Smiley 7th, Ryan 8th, Novi 9th, and Greg starts the race in 10th. Of course, as a reminder, Top Gun will start in 14th when we get going. Is looking, looking at a back of the grid start for obviously joining later on into quali, doing over the break. Well, let's have another go at a featured driver. Pick somebody who we've got on the grid. Tell you what, we're going to have a look at Jay Clates, I think, this week. Pulled the form out. There we go. He's in the Williams for this particular race. Jay Clates is 29 years of age and is from the West Midlands, UK, and is a plumber by trade. His hobbies and interests include football, karting, F1, rally, and beers. You know, everyone loves beers. You know, that is a good hobby to have. And he is on a wheel. He is on a Thrustmaster TX Italia 458 with the open wheel add-on and load cell pedals. Again, I always feel like I say exactly the same thing every single time I read out a wheel model. If somebody can translate that bit into English for me, that would be appreciated. Got a favourite driver of Carlos Sainz. So the Spaniard proving popular with Jay Clates, fair enough. And he's an unusual one. Monaco is his best track. Wow. Okay, that's fine. Race pace and clean racing as racing strengths. And is targeting anywhere in the points this season. And as an interesting fact, started league racing on F122, so only last year. Switched to no assist at the beginning of this game, F123. So there's another one. There's a pet Springer Spaniel named Chester. Fair enough. That's pretty good stuff. So Jay Clates will have company willing him on for hold of this title. We are on the grid and Jay Clates appears to have disconnected before everything has got going. So we won't get a chance to park the car up, I would imagine. Won't get a chance to obviously warm everything. We have got, let's see, what have we got for tyres? Got 2 runners on the hard tyres to begin with. Joseph Hales and Greg will start on the hards. The rest of them have gone rather vanilla on the mediums. Not anticipating a lot of first corner contact, some of these guys. They do keep it fairly clean, but these are 2 absolute abominations when it comes to the first corners on a circuit. These. Let's see. Drivers now using obviously this to get a little bit of heat through the tyres, prepare themselves for the next 27 laps of racing. Does look like they will be looking to come in around 13 to 17, really, with the tyres on there. Obviously, the hard runners will go a little bit longer. Hope for a little bit of an overcut later on, I would imagine, as the medium runners, obviously, of course, will come in earlier. May even look to run it to soft, some of those guys. Hello, Johnny B. How are you? Just in time for the race. 14-car race, but should be a cracker nonetheless. As we get lined up onto the grid, we've got something for the Tifosi to shout about on pole with deflated wheel, parking the car up right on the marks, right on the money, with John obviously behind him. Top Gun bringing up the rear. be looking for another big drive. I'm good, Johnny. We're excited. And we are ready to go. Looking at it from Deflator's point of view to see 5 red lights. And away we go. Deflated, we look like he's gotten away pretty well as we come down towards the first chicane. John filing in close in tow, but we've got plenty of action going on behind with Joseph Hales. Wheel bumping against 1010 there. A little bit of close racing, you'd tend to say there, but that's good. And a good exit from Joseph. Nice and clean by the looks of it for most of the drivers. Top Gun has stormed away to 10th. And the top 5 have remained line astern. A smaller Smiley goes for a move down the inside of the Della Roggia chicane. Ryan just about edging him out, get a little bit of a spin on for the smaller Smiley. Looks like somebody has been around as a yellow flag just temporarily. Top Gun has stormed up to 9th place, is looking to get a move on Greg. He's absolutely flown through Lesmo and will take Greg with relative ease. Up to 8th place already is that Red Bull. He's made some fantastic ground early on. Of course, we've got the train for the lead at the minute. Deflated from John, from John, from 1010, from Joseph on an unknown interval, and TD as well. Him having Ryan close in tow. And well, speaking of drivers close in tow with one another, Top Gun clearly not running a lot of downforce on that car. Absolutely blitzes small Smiley. This, of course, given we have naturally not got DRS on yet. Fantastic. And Top Gun certainly making the best of a slightly bad situation. We've got TD under attack from Ryan now. You can see the move. There we go. Goes toward the inside of the chicane. Takes the position well. TD's just going to look to stick to the back of him. They're not going to fight it this early on. As the top 4 look like they are beginning to break away, and they will break away if TD and Ryan get fighting. Of course, TD is going to have Top Gun for company very shortly as well. Looks like that car is set up for hot lapping. Yeah. The second Red Bull at the minute, Top Gun. Lying through here. Cracking exit off of Ascari. Imagine TD could be seeing 2 Red Bulls in front of him rather than 1 fairly shortly, unless Top Gun gets something wrong here. Got John coming toward Deflated Wee with the slipstream, and he's going to have half a look. The DRS has been enabled, but of course he'll get the benefit a little bit later on. And TD, rather than seeing 2 Red Bulls behind him, is now seeing, or in front of him, is seeing 2 Red Bulls behind him. The Aston Martin blitzing them both. TD gets his 5th position back. The Red Bulls obviously were looking like everything was going backwards at that point. But TD has sent them packing. It's 2 seconds off this lead train at the moment. But here we go with the first DRS zone of the race. Deflated Wee. How long is he going to withstand the pressure of John from behind with a Ferrari engine, of course, in that Haas? He's obviously also got 1010 and Joseph for close company. Joseph obviously looking to cling on as long as he can on those hard tyres. TD has got both the Red Bulls filling his mirrors as well as he comes around Parabolica, but there could be a move on here for the lead. As Deflated and John and 1010 all go through together. 1010 and John side by side. John holding the inside line, just edging out the Scott, but he's got the outside. Has 1010's a better exit off of the first chicane. John has stormed it, and Deflated still staying with. As we come towards the Della Roggia chicane, John still in the lead, claims the inside line. you would imagine should see 10-10 out from there. And Joseph getting very close to the back of Deflated Wee, not for the first time this season, in an attempt to grab third position as well. But they're all through. Deflated's lost 2 places, as you'd expect under the DRS. It's John and 10-10 ruling the roost again. Meanwhile, TD did lose his 2 positions to the Red Bulls. Top Gun is on a charge and he is in 5th place at the minute. And he's closing the gap quite rapidly to the battle ahead of him. John's going to be the vulnerable one this time under the DRS. As that guy is the first into the steward's notebook. All track limits warnings. 4 all coming up the first straight towards these first 2 corners. Deflated's going to hold off, but 10-10's looking for the move. 10-10, John holds it around the outside again. Just about tries to squeeze him, doesn't manage it this time though. The exit nowhere near good enough from the inside of that second corner, and 10-10 blitzes away and takes the lead of the race. The championship leader surpasses the championship chaser. As Ryan has managed to get around Top Gun as well in a little battle between the Red Bulls there. Back within 1.2 seconds of this lead battle now, and they're using the toe that the others are giving them to get right onto the back of this. We could soon be in a situation where the whole top 8 are connected to the same DRS train here. Red Bulls are catching rapidly. So 10-10's turn to look like he's standing still though on this next straight as he comes around Parabolica, looking to maximise the exit, of course. Joseph sniffing onto the gearbox of Deflated Wee, but that's not what we're looking at. John goes for the move. Gone like he's standing still, and Deflated and Joseph look like they are going to be side by side. Oh, Deflated tried to park it there, and Joseph tried to put the car in a similar position to where he had parked it. Very, very close between those two. Could have resulted in an aeroplane accident. Not quite there though. As Joseph then runs Deflated round the outside of the Curva Grande, and Deflated dives in and has gone round at the Della Roggia chicane, hits the wall as he tries to spin it back round. He's just gone in deep by the looks of that. Maybe lost, maybe just gone to try and escape it. To try and escape any impact. Joseph is free of clutches of Deflated Wee. As we have another yellow for one of the McLarens. An angry Corgi off at Della Roggia chicane as well. The second one this lap to come a cropper there. 10-10 obviously. Now again taking his chance to chase down John, but he's going to have Joseph Hales for close company as he exits Parabolica. Got one in front and one behind. The DRS is open, he's going for the one ahead. And up the side of John. John's behind him. And the lead is reclaimed by the Mercedes. There's an angry Corgi, I think, has also had another off. He's backed into the barriers at Ascari. Imagine that was a fairly hefty whack. Might have some rear wing damage as well, possibly there. Red Bulls have dropped a little bit back off of this battle again, back to 2 seconds between Top Gun and Joseph Hales now. And we did have a brief moment where these were all together in the same, in the same DRS train. But everyone seems to have dropped off now. TD has gone back to about 4.6 off the back of the Red Bull battle going on there. It's currently being headed up by Top Gun and chased down by Ryan, but still got the top 3. All in that same train, and whether Joseph will get an opportunity or not, we do not know. Here we go. Another move for the lead maybe on here as John careers down to the first chicane. It's gone very, very easily there. A little bit of locking up going on. What you can see is that Mercedes in his mirrors. This is going to be lead changes every single lap, and it's going to keep us going all race long. Fantastic stuff between these drivers so far. Looking down the field, we have got Deflated trying to carve a path back through. Smaller Smiley has taken TD. Deflated is looking as if he is going back on a charge to try and get towards some good points after that error at the Bella Roger chicane. Hanging on to the back of Smaller Smiley for now. Depends how the run's going to be. Looks like he may have to wait for the DRS zone, but TD is catching a fair old rate of knots as well. Jump on with TD's teammate though. Joseph Hales gets front row seats to this battle for the lead. And 10-10 goes to the inside of John there. Joseph again, this is happening all right on his front wing pretty much. And the Mercedes gets the move done. Looking down the field, Deflated has taken Smaller Smiley, and Smaller has moved to the inside to try and cover off TD. Seems to have just about managed it. The Aston Martin comes up there, isn't going to go for a move. Don't blame him, but Smaller Smiley looks like he's gone very deep into the chicane. Seems to have thrown TD a little bit as well though, so no move on there. I imagine no move at this point either. Joseph, the more you see him, the more he looks like he's setting these two up. Comes towards the Parabolica now, and John and 10-10 are pretty much side by side here. John's going to be the one to go through first, so 10-10 and Joseph Hales will both get a go with DRS to go and get him. I imagine this would get done fairly early from 10-10's perspective there. We're going to have a run on board with Joseph again. He's sat back off of them. 10-10 again has had ample room to get that move done. Very, very good from 10-10. Played the mind games there and ended up ahead for this lap as well. Still, obviously, with Joseph close in tow there, though. But John looking like he's maybe dropping a little bit off the back of 10-10 for now. Red Bull still within half a second of each other. It's Top Gun followed by Ryan in that battle. We do have Novi and Greg exchanging blows at the moment, within half a second of each other on track. Featured driver Jay Clates all on his own around Curva Grande. 13th there. I think we're hoping for something to shake the order up a little bit. These, say, the top 5 are still pretty close. 4th and 5th kind of having their own battle. 10-10 leads at the minute. That shall change rather shortly, though, you would imagine, as John takes to the inside to run toward the first corner. Another DRS pass. It's happened every single lap now. And 10-10's going to fight back, though. 10-10 fighting it back, but John's parked the car well. Going to force 10-10 the long way if he's going to go for it. Scott backs off. Thinks much better of it, keeps himself in the race, and John keeps the lead for now. say Novi and Greg still quite close together there as well, as an angry Corgi is out at Ascari, and that is a safety car. And that is exactly what someone like Jake Clates would have been hoping for at the minute. This will play, you'd imagine, pretty brilliantly into the hands of some of these medium runners. May see a rush for some pit stops now. Joseph Hales is going to be caught in two minds, and so is Greg. You would imagine. Looking, I think these guys will be wanting a second safety car, the hard runners. A big ask to get some mediums, I think, to the end. You might just about manage it as they all come in. Everyone in. Joseph's kept it within the speed limit this time as well. We're all off toward the pit. How are your pit crews? And Greg gets a 5-second penalty speeding in the pit lane, of course. The rest of the drivers look like they've all gone onto a hard set. Top Gun is on another set of mediums. 2 stops for Top Gun. Throw an alternate in there. Hard could have got him to the end there. Wonder if that's possibly an error. Joseph, of course, had to go for medium to have a chance at getting to the end. We'll come back. John's leading. Yes, well, John and 1010 at the top there have both been trading blows all race, to be honest. It's been a heavily DRS assisted race, this one so far. We've been stopped briefly by a safety car with an angry Corgi out at this particular part of the track. Ascari looks like he'd lost it just mid-corner, really. Like I say, Joseph is locked onto the mediums. Top Gun is going to have to come in again because he has already run the medium. And the rest of these guys will be looking to go very much toward the end of the race. Top Gun, as I say, will be hoping for a little bit of spacing out to happen. And then for another safety car a little bit later on, but this is a decision that could backfire quite quickly for him. Joseph, probably when this gets going, will be going like the absolute clappers, trying to keep up with these two at the front. The hard tyre runners, again, can generally be a bit more aggressive, but naturally don't have a grip in the tyre as such at the beginning. Going to be a little bit of a juggling act for some of these guys. So the safety car will enter the pits at the end of this lap. We will get going on the tail end of lap 14. We'll have 13 racing laps left to go. Don't ask me what I've just seen on the screen there. But John leads as the rest of the cars follow in a horde down towards Parabolica. When will the Haas driver go? Holding it, and he's gone. There we are. Just a little bit off after the racing line. He seems to have dropped 10-10 very well indeed. That gets him going brilliantly there. Joseph has got the Red Bull of Ryan for company, but Joseph's also having a look at the back of 10-10. Puts it alongside, side by side, these guys. Squeezed out to the curb is Joseph. 10-10 defending for his life for second place there. Joseph with the shorter run through Curva Grande. What can he do? Has he got any energy left to push himself ahead of this Mercedes? Side by side. And filters in. 10-10 keeps the inside line. And Joseph gave it a good go on there, but that's all allowed John to get ahead a little bit more. Well, good battle on there as Sun God goes in the bad books. 3 seconds for him. Got the Red Bulls. Top Gun looking at the back of Ryan, like I say, trying to make the most of these softer compound, the medium tyres. He will need to get Ryan dispatched fairly quickly to be able to make the most of this and come in for another stop. But Joseph again staring at the gearbox. Here is a view of the gearbox of that Mercedes as we have the Sun God off at Parabolica. This is Joseph coming through. 10-10 is up the side. Just turns in, keeps it ahead of the Scot. Gets the move done on this occasion. Top Gun, of course, has blitzed Ryan in the meantime as well. Greg is alongside Jay. Clate's having a position battle for 11th there. Obviously, Sun God after that off briefly there. Is seeing the rear of the field at the minute, but Smaller Smiley and TD having a little bit of a close battle, as they have done pretty much most of the way through this race so far. They have been absolutely side by side or on top of each other in one form or another. Smaller Smiley is the next one through with the greater straight line speed, and Joseph Hales and Ryan also, and Deflated Wee, and now Novi, sorry, all into the stewards' bad books. 3-second time penalties for them, and that is a big one for Joseph. He knows exactly what that means. It means he's got to dispatch John and start building a gap. John has been dispatched, as long as he can keep it on the inside there. Breaks in a little bit later for the chicane. Gets the move done, Joseph, but now he's got to get the foot down and get himself a gap, which is never the easiest thing to do around Monza. Of course, Top Gun joining the back of this battle as well now toward the front. Let's say we've got the 5 cars in the top 5, all in tow from one another. Both the Red Bulls, 10-10 John and Joseph. All together, you've got to feel that that time penalty is going to cost Joseph a chance at potentially winning this race. As the Top Gun looks like he might be the next one to get 10-10 as Ryan picks up a penalty for real this time. They're all really pushing these guys. Reflected in some track limits misdemeanors. We've got Joseph Hales with John for close company, and he is quickly dispatched, already harvesting energy, as Joseph has used a fair bit by the looks of that in his attempt to get through 10-10 and John. Top Gun hasn't managed to make any progress in terms of getting through 10-10 to get third. He is still going to need to pull a heck of a gap to be able to get a pit stop in and not come out dead last. Still hanging right off the back of that Mercedes, but there is DRS assist, of course, for 10-10 as well. Close enough to the back of Joseph still. Got to feel Top Gun's got to get this move done this lap. The trouble getting past him at Zandvoort last week. Joseph looking to the inside there. Almost thinking about it through Parabolica, but will keep behind and definitely blitz John down the straight towards the first 2 turns of this lap. Getting as close as he dares to the back of that Haas. Coming in quite nicely, taking... Oh, there's a touch. touch between John and Joseph there, but Joseph looks to have kept the lead. Let's see, it's jumped on board, just a little bit of opposite lock, but now Joseph's got the horde behind him. And keeps the inside line, keeps the lead for now. And Greg comes in and retires. We've got John, 1010, Top Gun, Ryan, all. You could throw a blanket over. We're going their air and mess the car up a bit, but you could throw a blanket over them. The smaller Smiley also with TD for close company, but these guys, all 5 of them, as Top Gun takes a penalty. And smaller Smiley too. But a lot of these drivers on 3 seconds now. John and 1010 are not part of that club. We're looking at 5 drivers all in tow. Coming down towards the first chicane at Monza. Joseph is struggling for the energy. He's dispatched quickly by John, but 1010 doesn't get a look. And Joseph's teammate TD manages to get around smaller Smiley. Won't be hearing a lot out of the Tifosi at the end of this race, I would imagine. Is still John's lead. And as it stands, the gap will be cut to 8 points at the top of championship with what would then be 8 races to go. Of course, there's a long way to go in this one. 7 laps is a long time, and Joseph comes down the inside and gets the move done before Ascari. Wiggling around the outside of Ascari there. Just about keeping it all in a straight line, but the green machinery takes the lead for now. And of course, you've got to feel it's going to come straight back to John, as Joseph runs very wide through Parabolica. And Top Gun dives into the pits for that second stop. He's going to have a go at least in order to get fastest lap. As John retakes the lead from Joseph Hales. And still we have 1010 and Ryan close in tow. Top Gun did think that strategy call will be detrimental to his race. Takes the walk of shame out of the pits here. He is back out of the points entirely. 11th position. Still with a fair bit left to go, and Jay Clate's in his sights. But that has proven to be a horrible strategy call for Top Gun. Got it so right last week in Zandvoort, coming in early for the fresh set of inters. He's got it so wrong this week on the alternate strategy. Now here comes Joseph hunting down that Haas. They come toward the Parabolica, and it's all going to depend on the exit. Joseph obviously isn't going to want to run as wide as what he did on the previous lap. He's going to keep himself in contention here. And he runs up towards the back of John. Arrive, pass, continue. John's going to try for a switchback here though. And doesn't quite manage to pull it there, as TD is sent piling over the inside of turn 2. Gets a 3-second penalty for his troubles there. Joseph looks like he's hanging on to that car in the lead. Really doing everything he can to hoist it around the corners. TD might be able to get that 3 seconds back at the end of this, but Joseph being hunted by John as we can see going on in front of us there, and John takes back that first position down towards Ascari. is Haas from Aston Martin, from Mercedes, from Red Bull, John from Joseph, from 10-10 from Ryan, all of whom still with a chance to win this race, but only Joseph on the mediums, 10 laps on each of those sets of tyres. Top Gun is through on Novi a little bit further back, just in and around Ascari by the looks of it. Gets himself back to the points, but Joseph to the inside retakes the lead again, dives on in, and hoiks that position back off the Haas. Trading blows. It's like watching boxing. And one after another, after another. Top Gun gets himself around Jay Clates for 10th, or obviously in 10th there. So 9th for Top Gun, 10th for Jay Clates. Will he have enough time potentially to start hunting down that guy? As John comes back down the inside before Ascari. Going to be a bit predictable now. John, I wonder if he's had a little moment in there. John, oh my. Joseph seemed to catch him at a fair old rate of knots in the middle of the chicane there. Joseph backs off, makes the decision to keep the DRS down the straight rather than to take the position at Parabolica. Could possibly set himself up for a little bit of threat from 10-10 here as well. As the Aston Martin comes through, 10-10 thinks better of it, doesn't try to follow the green machine through. Joseph gets the lead back again on track, but of course he will have that 3-second penalty, as will Ryan. Top Gun takes fastest lap and has pulled about a couple of seconds on that guy in the last lap, so it could be on for him to catch that McLaren at least before the race is out. So we are watching Joseph, who he certainly has had a fair slice of the lead in this race. Gone a little bit further away from John this time. He wouldn't expect to move this lap. Things should probably just stabilise and become the race to the DRS zone ahead of Parabolica. As the race has absolutely flown by, we've got all the 3 laps remaining of it after we cross the line here. The lead has not stayed with one driver for more than a lap outside a safety car. As John again just blitzes past Joseph Hales. And look down the field a bit there as well, because TD is sizing up a move on smaller Smiley to disappointed Tifosi a little bit further. Gets him on slipstream nice and easy for the Aston Martin driver. But speaking of Aston Martins, Joseph Hales still hunting down John. Could have had a go into the Variante della Roggia. Sun God's had another off at Parabolica, not the first time this afternoon for him. And John still now heads the field toward Ascari. He will still head the field at the end of this race if it stays like this. 10-10 will take second with those track limits penalties for Joseph. And Smaller Smiley and TD having a little bit of a ding-dong. Smaller Smiley got it back. So he takes 6th place again there. Imagine there is about to be another swap for the lead. Joseph Hales hunting down the American John. And again, blitzing him. Trying to keep the position. DRS and the slipstream altogether is very, very powerful on this circuit and on this game. And Joseph using that to his advantage as he storms ahead of John once more, trying to keep hold of that now. Not going to pull the 3 seconds, but he's got more than a chance to win it on track as Joseph. Let's see what we are looking at in terms of penalties. So 3 seconds for every driver who has a penalty by their name, bar that guy who has 6. So that guy could end up backwards. He is also only a couple of seconds ahead of Top Gun, who has had a massive stint on those softs, but it's not going to be enough for him to get any big points. TD being looked at by Smaller Smiley there, but again, seems to repel that attack as we come to the final lap of this race. Joseph Hales leads John, but not for much longer. The American storms him as Joseph runs out of energy. By the looks of it there, 10-10 more than had a look. He's parked himself on the gearbox of that Aston Martin that is struggling to gather any energy to use. Smaller Smiley is side by side with TD at the moment. Both of these guys. Oh, wow. I think Smaller Smiley has maybe got on the throttle a little bit early there, had a little bit of a wiggle. And cedes position out of the first chicane. Another chance left though. What sort of exit can Joseph Hales get from the second Lesmo toward Ascari? What can he get? He's going to get closer and closer and closer to the back of that Ferrari engine Haas. But he's not going to get close enough just yet. Will he be able to take the win on track at least though, as he tracks John down all the way to Parabolica, but John's getting away from him. It's been a valiant effort from Joseph. It's been a race of many lead changes. But the one who's leading at the end is the one who matters, and it is John who wins the Italian Grand Prix. With 10-10 taking second, Joseph and Ryan with those penalties costing them dear, 3rd and 4th for each of those, as they then end up lying astern through the line. Deflated takes 5th, was in a bit of a race on his own after the safety car. TD and Smaller Smiley planted in the gearbox of TD coming through the line. 6th and 7th for that pair. Top Gun in 8th, did manage to take that guy after penalties by the looks of it. And that guy obviously 9th. Jay Clates comes home to take the final point on featured driver there. Novi in 11th, and Sun God we are waiting on to come round, and yep. I think that's a naughty point. So that is that for this race. Let's say, obviously, I think really it's shown on the top 2 that it's paid to keep it within the white lines. John narrows the gap at the top of the championship, and he takes himself onto that podium, that glorious podium sat just above the pit wall in Monza here. And like I say, gets himself that victory. I feel it's one that has definitely played with the safety car toward the medium runners at the beginning. But in the end, as I say, it's all about keeping it on track, and John and 10-10 managed to do just that. John taking the win, 10-10 in second, meaning that the gap is, or the lead in the championship for 10-10 has eroded by 7 points down to 11 with 8 races to go. Joseph is 3rd, Ryan 4th, Deflated 5th, TD and Smaller Smiley ending up 6th and 7th after their battle. Top Gun 8th, that guy 9th, and Jake Plates rounding out the points. And Angry Corgi and Greg obviously retiring at the other end, with Sun God also running it straight into the wall at the end. As Sun God obviously is a has resubbed in apology for straight lining Parabolica by the looks of it. That's Slow God returns. My motto is you're not going to be very quick if you are driving at a wall. But that is that for this week. So, Sun God on a 10-month sub streak at the minute. See, we do this again only once more this week. This is going to be a 2-race week now. I think 82. Miss the next couple down to real life races. So of course, we will have the the 81 race on Thursday. We'll be back for no assist on Singapore the 24th of October, the Tuesday there. Will be with somebody very different, I would imagine, on the stream. So I've locked off for that one. But yes, as I say, it seemed to be a fun race to watch. As I say, a lot of battles going on. Obviously, the lead always changing hands. Ultimately, as always, that's another one in the books.